Ayo, what up? It's Eclipsing. I don't know if you know, but I love Animal Crossing. I have played Wild World and New Leaf, and I was super duper excited when Nintendo announced the release of New Horizons last year. And at this point in March 2020, we are almost there. Like, it is so close to the day that I've been dreaming of for years. Like, I'm so ready. Furthermore, in January, Uncle Nintendo also blessed me with the news of the new special edition Switch with the hella cute mint and sky blue Joy-Cons and the engraved Animal Crossing designs in the back and the cute island design dock. I slapped my credit card down so hard for a pre-order, and I felt content knowing that I would have a beautiful new special Nintendo Switch in time for the release of one of the major Nintendo titles that I play. But alas, things are never that smooth. So I made my pre-order with a major retailer that I will not say the name of, but it was done via their website, and I selected shipping and put my details for payment as I normally would for any other online purchase as I have done in the past. Here's where sus flags come though. They tried to validate my card for payment, and I received a text message from my bank saying like, hey, was this transaction you? Reply, yes, if so. If it was declined, please just try again afterwards. So I'm like, wow, this is stupid. But I guess maybe I don't really purchase from major retailer son. So yeah, I just responded yes, and everything went through on the website just fine. So I'm like, okay, maybe they'll just charge me again later. There were no complaints, and I received email updates on the ever-changing shipping date every few days or so for like a month. I also read up that sometimes they'll hold off on processing the payment until they actually start to prepare for shipping. And then on a beautiful Sunday morning, March 8th, 2020, I wake up, I get my coffee, I go about doing my thing on Sunday, which is usually like laundry and edit videos or something. Probably 80% waste a lot of time watching YouTube. I receive a text on my phone that some transaction attempts from the retailer have been flagged and declined, and to please respond whether this was authorized. Same thing as before. So I check my email, and I see this new update to please change my payment method because something was wrong with the card, and if I don't take action, then my order may be canceled. Yo, bro, the panic that settled into my chest as I checked on my order details when I saw the word canceled. So I go in to the website, linked from the email, and there's this red message on the top like, wee woo, your payment is bad, please change. And I'm like, oh man. So I click on the link that says change payment method under the payment section, which shows my current card and everything to do with payments. I have so many complaints about my experience with this website. So when I land on the new page where you can alter your payment options, there's basically a box for each payment method you have available, and the highlighted one is the currently selected payment method for your order. Easy peasy, and given that I've only added one thus far, I just have one box, and that's the one that's selected. Alright, cool. All I have to do then is to add another one, right? First problem. The area at the top of the page is telling me that there's a problem with your card. Please use a different payment method. Okay, it found out that it got declined, so obviously it's going to have some issue with my payment method. But the reason it listed as to why it was problematic was very not correct. It said that my card was expired and it cannot be used. Except my card was very much not expired. Like, I still have some years left on it. So I don't know where they got that from. Alright, whatever. I'm gonna change to a different card anyway. So I add another card to my options. So now I have two boxes. And I click on the new card option. And then I click on submit button to confirm that I want this to be my actual selected payment method for my order. No. Rejected. A red message shows up on top, And it's like, there is a problem with the card you selected. Please try again or choose a different card. Furthermore, it still shows the issue about the expiration date, but again, it's still listing it as for the first card. So I'm like, what the heck? And I try again, and it's still the same problem. So I decided to take a break first, because this is just too much for me, and I call my bank to ask what's up with the declined transactions, because I have had no issues with transactions in the past, and I've definitely transacted much higher amounts before. I still have plenty of credit line left for the month, and I always pay off my monthly statements. Like, I literally have no issues. The first time I call via the app assistant, it disconnects me while calling. The second time, I call directly and I get into the call, but then it disconnects when trying to find a live agent. The third time, I finally get to talk to a human being and I ask about the declined transaction. She tells me that it's because it was an online transaction and not in person. And I don't know, I blinked and asked her to clarify. But she basically said the same thing. And I was like, well, I don't understand. I've done a ton of online transactions before, including with other similar retailers that have both brick and mortar, in-person stores, as well as online shopping options. But she basically just could not provide any more information about it. Finally, I just asked if I could just get the transaction to go through if I were to get them to rerun the card, since I preferred to have the payment be on this one. And she said sure, because they'll just make note that I called about it and they'll make sure it gets through. I should be fine. Okay, well, I thanked her and hung up feeling really weird about that interaction. Have I ever mentioned that I really hate making phone calls? Most of the time nothing bad happens and I always sound super chipper, but actually I'm just dying inside. Anyways, back to the issue at hand. I try the retailer website again because maybe it was just a fluke. But nope, same problem. No matter what, it won't change my selected payment method. It also complains if I remove all my payment methods and put back either the original or the new card. In fact, it specifically rejects my old card, saying that I can't use that one. But if I reload the page, it'll say that is my active one, regardless of how I try to change it to a different one. So I'm mad at this point, and I can see some Cloudflare errors in the web console when loading the page, and all the network calls for changing the payment have returned with the most generic 500 internal server error, aka super unhelpful. At this point, I'm questioning whether they even actually implemented the self-service payment changes, because I've seen from older threads online that they used to not even give the option to change payment methods, which is also WTH. But now they do. So did they make the updates on their server side to handle that? Or was it just a front end change? I give up and contact customer support, and let's call the guy I'm getting help from Cart, because that's his name. So I explained to Cart all the things about the website that I told you earlier, and all the things I tried to resolve this payment problem, such as various combinations of adding or removing payments, clearing cache, reloading the page, the failed attempts to update the selected payment, etc., etc. I told him I cleared the card with my bank, so they can even just try to use my original card too, or the new one. I don't really care at this point. But no matter what, I am getting error messages for just about everything I try to do. He asks for my order number and I give it to him, and then he gives me a big scare because the system that manages these connections is telling me that the agent is disconnecting. But he does come back soon after, to my relief. But dang it, Cart. He just asks, may I know if you've tried changing it through the email that was sent to you? Trying to maintain my frustration because I went through a lot at this point, I tell him yes, I clicked on the link in the email to change my payment and followed instructions and reiterated that I had such and such error when I did such and such. Cart responds, for this matter, kindly allow it 24 hours before you can change it again. We're not able to make changes from our end, and if the email that was sent out did not work, it'd be best to allow it 24 hours. Okay, fine, reasonable, maybe. Even if their website is garbage, if they can at least batch process the actual data nightly or whatever it is, then as long as that gets through, that's probably okay. But I'm still worried about not having that work because I'm not 100% sure if he knew what the issue was, because based on the way that he responds to me, I'm not sure if he understands what I'm saying. It's also kind of sus because, again, I have a server error when attempting to update the payment, so it's not like the backend knows of the new payment that I'm selecting, because when I reload pages with a fresh information fetch, it gives me the old one, and I'm wary of my order getting canceled if I don't resolve it in time, like my email kind of warned. So I followed up asking, hey, so how do I know if it is successful in using the new payment method? Is there a confirmation email or notice upon clicking submit or when they've processed the transaction? Cart simply states, you will receive an email stating it's been processed. What is it? What do you mean? What is processed? Okay, so I rephrased my question to ask him to clarify if he meant when my update to my method is processed or when the transaction itself is processed. He responds, the email will be sent out once you have processed the new payment method. Okay, the new payment method. So that sounded to me like I should be getting it when I successfully changed the payment method to the new one, but maybe he's not great with wording or he doesn't pay attention to what I'm asking, so I repeated whether it was the change to the method or the transaction. Remember, if it was the former, that'd be bad because my whole problem right now is that I cannot change my selected payment method. But if we're going with the 24-hour rule, should I just expect the email for that within 24 hours of me having changed it recently? He basically said the same thing again and repeated that I need to give them more time before changing the payment method again. I don't know what you mean again, but since I'm still getting error from the email instruction, he follows up with, once you have processed the payment method from the email that was sent, you will receive an email stating it has been approved and your order is processing. Nani the f*** do you mean you have processed? I have to process something? What? You guys? Me process? Anyways, my brain was just fried from dealing with everything, so our call ended soon after that, and I was thoroughly frustrated. I never did get an email, by the way. Not the next day, nor the next. Cart did at least reassure me at some point that they won't cancel my order if there were problems, they just hold in collections. But I never got an email for anything. God damn it, Cart. I had a bit of faith, though, because apparently in the past, the retailer will use whatever alternate method you had added even if you didn't select it, which I find really weird and maybe slightly concerning, because what if you didn't want transactions to be on that other payment, but whatever. So you know what, just use this other card I've added. I don't care, I just want my Switch. Anyways, I ended up getting a text message from FedEx that my item has shipped like a day ago, and I got my package. But I never did get an email update or status update on the website from the retailer. The website never worked. In fact, it still says I have a bad payment method and it still lists my original card as the payment method, even though that one wasn't charged. And I got my product. I don't know. This is just a ball of stress I wasn't expecting to deal with this week. It was just mentally draining. But that's the story of the confusing, annoying experience of trying to buy this Switch. I am never ordering through this retailer again. What the heck?